I am very pleased to read for you a delightful story by the fiction writer Maxwell Conroe. Titled The Dupin Files, Hercule Poirot, this story is one out of 25 new adventures collected in Magic Musings, Conroe's latest story bundle. 1. Personal Introductions. My name is Auguste Dupin. You may know about me and my unique method of investigation from descriptions drawn up by Mr. Edgar Allan Poe in The Murders in the Rue Morgue, 1841, The Mystery of Marie Roget, 1842, and The Purloined Letter, 1844. Well, you may say, that was a long time ago. That's true, and you may not have heard much of me lately, but that's about to change. My expertise is ratiocination, which over time I have only gotten better at doing. I have learned my early skills simply by reading some popular French stories featuring rational trains of thought when confronted with murders and other crimes. Examples are Zadig, 1748, by Voltaire, and the Memoirs of Vidocq, 1828, written by the French criminal who later became a police informer and founder of the Sûreté, 1812, a role model of criminal investigative techniques, including undercover operations. Studying such sources and bringing them into practice over the years, I have refined my techniques. And here is how I would now describe what is meant by ratiocination. It employs reasoned analysis of the circumstances that may explain how exactly occurred an apparently mysterious event of interest. Ratiocination scrutinizes the evidence with the utmost care to not draw premature conclusions or make false interpretations. There is a genuine interest in avoiding injustice and false accusations by gathering evidence that unmistakably attributes the cause of bodily harm or material theft to the responsible culprits. Recently, I have been retained in the services of my great friends and successors, Mr. Hercule Poirot and Mr. Sherlock Holmes. My mission is quite simple: I shall lay bare the basis for their claims, uncover any cover-up attempts by third parties, and document in minute detail my findings, again, of course, applying rigorously the method of ratiocination. I emphasize, this is only the beginning of a document series that has already become known as the Dupin Files. My work has not finished and is far from completion, but for the sake of putting an end to all premature speculation and rumors, it was decided by all parties concerned that it would be best if I would publish my preliminary findings. My assignment has a double nature. Quite literally, I must uncover truths not only concerning the claims made by Mr. Hercule Poirot, but also concerning the claims made by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. The body of evidence, for each of them, is vast. As it is no longer a secret that I, Auguste Dupin, have been retained by both Mr. Sherlock Holmes to gather evidence for his charges against the estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, I am at liberty to point out that there are considerable parallels between the two cases. This is also the rationale for filing the two cases with the same court. I recall the principal charges filed by Holmes concern defamation and repeatedly uttering death threats, Doyle threatening to kill Holmes, as confessed by Doyle in authentic private letters to his mother first made public in 2007, A Life in Letters. Like in my dossier prepared for the court filing Holmes versus the Doyle estate, it seems proper to say some words about the overall credentials of Mrs. Agatha Christie. Before we proceed, 4 charges are filed by Poirot to the address of Christie's literary estate: incrimination, defamation, discrimination and homicide of the plaintiff. Incrimination, making Poirot appear as a killer himself. Defamation, attributed substance abuse. Discrimination, unrelenting titillating portrayals and referrals to his Belgian nationality. Most of the evidence that I summarize here to substantiate the plaintiff's claims, incrimination, defamation, discrimination, and homicide, in Poirot vs. Christie have been drawn from the secret diaries of Agatha Christie. The homicide is not hard to prove, and it was beyond doubt a premeditated murder. 2. Pedigree Poirot. I will briefly refresh for you how Mr. Hercule Poirot came into existence. His brief biography is as follows. Hercule Poirot is the brainchild of Agatha Christie, 1890 to 1976. The author specialized in the detective genre and already during her lifetime sold over 1 billion books. Hercule Poirot appeared in Agatha's first story published in 1920, and starred in 33 novels and more than 50 short stories, until his character was declared death by Christie in her last Poirot story published in 1975. Agatha Christie Mallowan, the last name is from her second husband, Max Mallowan, became a celebrity author with lasting appeal. Her 2022 book sales have amassed to 2 billion units sold. Christie was born as Miller, but wrote under the adopted name of her first husband. In Passenger to Frankfurt, 1970, Christie, who had just turned 80 that year, wrote, "If one idea in particular seems attractive, and you could do something with it, then you toss it around, play tricks with it, work it up, tone it down, and gradually get it into shape." Christie followed this recipe through and through. She has written 80 crime novels and story collections organized in 3 mystery imprint series, Tommy and Tuppence Mysteries, the Miss Marple Mysteries and the Hercule Poirot Mysteries. As if it were not enough, Christie also wrote under a pseudonym as Mary Westmacott. At least 6 novels appeared between 1930 and 1956. The 6 Westmacott novels: Giant's Bread, 1930, Unfinished Portrait, 1934, Absent in the Spring, 1944, The Rose and the Yew Tree, 1947, A Daughter's a Daughter, 1952, and The Burden, 1956, are regarded as Christie's finest work, because it shows a very different side of her talent. The Westmacott stories explore the complexity and difficulty to find true love and the vulnerability of both men and women in such relationships, especially when conflictions arise due to misaligned ambitions of the partners. One cannot escape from thinking these works contain many elements of Christie's personal life and her vision and fears encountered in humans' most intimate relationships, which makes love often a bittersweet experience. Hercule Poirot was first featured in her 1920 debut story, which had already been written in 1916. It took Christie 4 years to find a publisher willing to sign her on. Agatha left 73 notebooks, which were painstakingly deciphered by John Curran, who wrote 2 books about his findings: The Secret Notebooks of Agatha Christie, 2009, and Agatha Christie, Murder in the Making, More Stories and Secrets from Her Notebooks, 2011. From studying Agatha's secret notebooks, author John Curran concluded, Agatha Christie, within a relatively short space of time, transformed from an awed and inexperienced neophyte perched nervously on the edge of a chair, to a confident and businesslike professional with a resolute interest in every aspect of her books, like jacket design, marketing, royalties, serialization, translation, and cinema rights. But Christie's feeling about publishers remained critical, as hinted in The Secret of Chimneys, where the protagonist Anthony Cade remarks, "I know all about publishers, they sit on manuscripts and hatch 'em like eggs. It will be at least a year before the thing is published." The First World War fully raged around Europe when Christie worked on her first book, and a Belgian war refugee in her hometown Torquay served as the template from which she molded her Hercule Poirot, who himself had little influence on the process of his creation. But once his character was defined, he firmly stood his ground and vehemently defended his views and values with the utmost integrity. Poirot always operated with high self-confidence when he set out to solve a crime, but he remained a man of humble needs. For 60 years, Christie had him lodged in the same premises at Styles Court. The intimate relationship between Poirot and Christie indeed lasted for 60 years. Christie passed in 1976. Throughout his illustrious career, Poirot had to compete for Christie's attention, because she also mothered several more crime mysteries. Christie's devotion to Miss Marple Mysteries and Tommy and Tuppence Mysteries, which she arguably gave preferential stage, meant Poirot, portrayed as a rather peculiar foreigner, was permanently delegated to second or third place on her list of priorities. In spite of his tense relationship with Christie, Poirot honed his problem-solving skills to perfection, with undiminished success. Over 60 years of active service with Christie's, few if any cases remained unsolved. Poirot was occasionally seconded by Captain Hastings, his confidant, and Miss Lemon, his secretary, but these were mere sidekicks who mostly acted as sounding boards with little original input in the actual crime-solving process, which occurred mysteriously inside Poirot's little grey cells. Most people may know Poirot's character not from Christie's original storybooks and novels, but from the numerous screenplay adaptations that have been aired and globally syndicated for many decades. A particularly powerful impersonation of Hercule Poirot has been portrayed by David Suchet, the English actor with the French accent, when he performs his Poirot role. The spellbinding charisma of Poirot was brought to life by Suchet in no less than 70 TV episodes, initially aired over a period of 25 years, 1989 to 2013. And the episodes continue to be aired rather frequently with undiminished success. Poirot lives on. Obviously, neither Christie's death nor Suchet's retirement meant Poirot's career has come to an end. Non. Far from it. An immortal detective, with a distinct style and proven track record, Poirot is bound to extend his masterly performance whenever his duties are called upon. Kenneth Branagh played Poirot in a 2017 film adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express, followed by Death on the Nile in 2022. These are remakes of earlier Poirot portrayals in filmed versions of Murder on the Orient Express, 1974, Poirot played by Albert Finney, and Death on the Nile, 1978, Poirot impersonated by Peter Ustinov. Christie wrote these two stories in 1934 and 1937, respectively. The travails of Poirot are indeed timeless, and his analytical dissection of complex murder cases remains much sought after, even today.